My name's Amy, and I make things. In today's video, I'm going to tell you all about the things I made in August. Monthly review. Hang around, let's see what happened. One of my favorite things about this YouTube community and a visual medium is getting to see show and tell of what other people have made. So in that respect, I'm going to share with you what I've made in August. It was a busy month. Lots of finishing. A few months ago I did a studio reset and took my long arm machine down, and I finally got it set back up in a smaller, more manageable configuration, and so there's lots of finishing that happened in August. 4 finished quilts for August. These are quilt tops that have been hanging in the closet with the backing and the batting cut for a long time. I used the laundry basket quilts triangle paper to make all the half square triangles for 3 of these, the 3 you're seeing now. And those sat in stacks in my stash since before we moved to Texas, which was 2 years ago. Last month I had a brilliant idea, and I taught my son to load quilts onto the long arm machine. And if he does loading the backing and help me cut the batting, I can do the quilting, even with my limited mobility. So I pay him to load the backing on the machine, which is the tedious part, and then I get to do the fun part. It's worked out very well. I have 4 finished quilts for August. Quilts that have been languishing. Quilt tops, you guys have those, right? It's not just me. You have lots of quilt tops like stacked up, ready to be quilted. Please tell me in the comments below that it's not just me. The quilt you're seeing now is based on a pattern called Tree Farm by Missouri Star Quilting. I bought the pattern, I read the instructions, I thought, hey, I don't want to cut all those, but I have an AccuQuilt cutter which will cut half rectangle triangles, and let's see what we can make happen out of the stuff I have on hand and not buying a new specialty ruler. And that's what I did. I pulled out my AccuQuilt, I pulled out my red and green and gray and black and white 10-inch squares, and I went to town and I cut all the pieces, and then I put it together basically according to the directions. I don't like being told what to do, so I often start with a pattern and end up somewhere kind of close, doing my own thing as I go. When I realized that I was a block short of the layout that I wanted to do, I pulled out a smaller cube system with the same die and cut from the scraps to make a fill-in block, and that's what you're seeing here. And I placed it down in the corner and gives it a little quirk, little personality. Every July, Bonnie Hunter issues a Leaders and Enders challenge, and she'll issue a block and you just make them as you go along, and when you have enough to build a quilt, you build a quilt, and it gets built in between the other things that you're sewing. And the quilt you're seeing now is the top Little Fishies blocks from the challenge Bonnie had a couple of years ago, and I've been working on them in between, and I had the blocks finished for quite some time, but I finally got them laid out and all put together and into a top that will get finished hopefully in September. Last year about this time I promised 4 dear nieces and nephews, littles, quilts, new quilts, and they're not finished yet. Look for a video coming on how to get unstuck. My main focus for September is to get these quilts completed and into the hands of the precious littles that really, really want them. Early in August, I finished my applique heart blocks that I've been working on for several months, and I will get them finished and set into a quilt top in September. That's on the calendar as well. I finished the 5 burp claws, and I'll link that video below in case you haven't seen it. I do a lot of handwork. I do a lot of handwork because I'm limited at how much time I can spend sitting in a straight chair at the sewing machine or standing at the long arm, but I like to keep busy and I like to keep moving forward. So I do a lot of hand binding, hand applique. When I ran out of things to bind and I didn't have any applique, I dug into my stash of hand spun yarn and I knitted up 6 hats, which is just the thing you want to do when it's 107 degrees every day in Texas. Those are the things that I completed in August. And my plans, some of my plans for September: the Fishies quilt top, the quilts for the niece and nephews, the applique hearts quilt top, and a super secret project over here behind me. I have a whole list of things that I'd like to get done for September. The quilts for the niece and nephews and the super secret project back here are my main priorities. One has a deadline and the other I just need to get in the hands of the littles that will love them. Drop me a comment and let me know what you completed in August or over the summer and what your plans are for September and going forward. If you make plans, or do you fly by the seat of your pants? Are you gearing up for holiday making? I want to know. I want to talk about it. Do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe and that little bell before you go out in the world and make it more beautiful just by being in it. I'm Amy, and I'll see you next time.